Velendra, about Dao Zimmer. Yes. Is it made out of solid gold? Because it certainly looks like it is, and if it is, it's not going to be a very good weapon. Gold isn't the best material for making weapons and armor out of. It's heavy, soft, and generally quite useless at keeping an edge. That may be the case for normal gold, but this blade is unlike any I've ever held before. Despite its size, it's as light as a dagger, and it's as sharp as any steel that I've ever held. That is likely due to the powerful magics that Lathander has infused the blade with. Godly might is great at turning even the most impractical of materials into a powerful blade of undead destruction. One that we certainly will not be selling. I said nothing about selling it. I didn't. I was just asking why it was made out of solid gold. We are certainly not going to be selling this blade. When we are done, Lathander will surely want it returned to him. Or he may want us to hold on to it just in case we encounter more undead that he wants us to get rid of. Either way, we're keeping it. I wasn't going to. I wasn't. I was just asking, is that a crime? Let us move on. The longer we delay, the more the Dark God's plans can be enacted. Indeed! Good idea, Rex. Let's go. Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play The Eye of the Beholder 3, Assault on Mithranor. And when last we left off, we have the Dao Zimmer, a powerful magical sword indeed, that I'm sure is the equivalent of the sword that we got in the previous game when it comes to defeating the final boss. Suffice to say, we're not going to be removing that from Valendra's hand, unless we want to cast some spells, whereupon we'll briefly let go of it, but only very briefly. Before we move to the next floor, it's time to do some buffing, starting with True Seeing, and then moving on to every other spell, with one addition, and that is that Rune has a spell that he can cast that will certainly help out the party. We have Prayer there, Aid here, an aid here, and then Rune is going to cast Mordenkainen's Sword. This is a magical blade that he can't put down that allows him to attack from the middle and the back row, and it has a 5% chance of automatically hitting regardless of how much armor class the opponent has. Rune can now finally join the all attack, and his weapon hits quite hard. We'll still be able to access his spells, and if we need to identify something, we can always open up the spellbook and then put down the spellbook so that we can identify something in his hand. We shouldn't be able to do that, but we can. Oh, the quirks of this game engine. With the buffing done, it's time to save and move on to the next floor, and presume that there is going to be a dangerous foe indeed there, considering that we now have the Dao Zimmer. There's something for us to read here. Lathander spreads his protective light over all in this holy hall of sanctuary. Who wants to bet that's not true right now, considering... Well, that's not something I wanted to see. That looked like a banshee. It may very well have been. The Dao Zimmer cleaves through the undead with ease. It truly is a powerful weapon. Be welcome, friends, and partake of Lathander's bounty. I think the only bounty we're going to be finding here is a bounty of undead. Let us press forward cautiously. Agreed. Let's open these doors while we can. So, one of the foes that we're going to be facing on this floor is the undead. I'm not surprised, considering that we were given such a powerful blade. As for in here, there are no enemies at all. And that foe doesn't sound like an undead foe to me, and that's not an undead foe. What is that thing? Whatever it is, we shall best it. Have at thee! Wow, you're pretty proficient with that blade. I can't take full credit for it. The blade guides itself in a way. Still, you're pretty deadly with it. Maybe you should consider doing some martial training at some point. I'd gladly train you, Rune, if you wanted to. Thanks for the offer, Tabitha, but I'll stick with the arcane for now. So we've encountered the second foe, and I believe that is a kind of Naga, and it's likely going to be able to poison us. Now that opens that there, and this is obviously going to be a trap. Yep, this is a trap. Fortunately, the enemies that are here are not difficult. And there is an iron key that we're going to use here to open the way back. What was the point of that? Oh, this is the point of that. Loot. Let's identify it. A potion of healing will always be useful. That said, we don't really have space for it. I'm sure we can drop something that we don't need. Like this sling. As much as it pains me to drop a sling, very well. Let's identify this. Put this down, grab that. Ah, a quite powerful halberd, but not as strong as one that we already have. I'm not surprised that this isn't as strong as the halberd +5 that we have from the very first game. That is truly a powerful thing indeed. Have faith in what you see. That's odd. This writing isn't anything like the style of the others we've encountered in Myth Drannor. Pits. Well, we know what to do with this, don't we, Lilanva? We do indeed. I remember back from Darkmoon. We just need to trust that we won't fall. And we did not. Your faith is strong indeed, Lilanva, for you to have no fear of that. I have past experience to tell me that that would work. Let's look in here and see what there is. And here is an Ember of Hope. It looks like a burning coal. And there is a second one here. These are probably going to be very important, so I'm going to make some space for them in our inventory. Let's get rid of... I don't want to get rid of the grappling hook, just in case we need it. And I definitely want to get both of these, so we'll see what we can get rid of. That's a longsword +3. That's not going to be useful. And that's the longsword +5. My dagger +5 will hold on to. We can get rid of... We could get rid of a dart +4, but that's one of the things we've had from the very beginning of the trilogy. Cone of Cold, Power Word Kill, Rings of Feather Falling, keep the Ring of Wizardry. We'll get rid of the longbow. We really don't need that longbow. We're never going to be using it. And so, with the inventory management sorted, let's go over here and presume that this one isn't going to be a proper pit either. See? No pit at all! I could dance on this! Look at me go! You do realize that while you're dancing, the Dark God is planning to spread shadows across the entire world. Oh, you're no fun sometimes. There is a door here, and over here is nothing. Who wants to bet there are foes in here? Oh, there are foes in here, and we deal a lot of damage with the Dowzima. That is a hit for 23. That said, Sandstar actually deals more damage collectively with both of his weapons. Against the undead, I imagine we deal a lot more. Now, here is a copper key, and some incense should we need it. So we'll keep that in mind as we keep on exploring, and return over to there. Now, we want to go this way, I imagine, because this leads back to the way we came from. And we haven't finished going east down here. A locked door, and we have a key for it. Excellent. We're in. There's a plaque here. Ah! The eternal light of hope fuels the beacons of sanctuary. May all enjoy their benevolence. There's no benevolence in that plaque, that's for sure. Is there another one? There's another one. I bet it's going to say the same thing. That it is. But we have found an important room, it seems. There is this here. A beacon of hope rests in the temple window, devoid of warmth and light. Who wants to bet the Ember of Hope is going to be used here? beacon of hope flares alive with holy light. Okay, so that's what we need to do on this floor. We need to find beacons of hope and light them. So I imagine there's going to be a fair few of them. There's one on the east side of this floor. I wonder if there's going to be one on the west side. And here is a cup of good cheer. Ah, I wish they wouldn't do that. These plaques are rather annoying. It's like they don't want us to read them. Perhaps it's the Dark God's influence. The cups of good cheer bring forth the hero's feast. I wouldn't mind a hero's feast. Let's put that there. I don't like the sound of those enemies walking around this level. I don't like it at all. They could be anywhere. But I haven't been bombarded with foes like I have been on the other floors. And saying that, here comes an enemy. Easy enough to defeat, though, with everyone attacking it. Absolutely everyone. So we'll put that there. And this here. And there's one more here. This is not a very difficult puzzle. If that appears to be the solution to it. And there is another one of those embers. With the return of hope to the temple has come the return of Lathander's bounty. The hall before you is full of marvellous food and drink. An aura of joy, power, and new beginnings permeates the hall, comforting to both body and soul. As you partake of the feast, your wounds vanish before your eyes, and you feel a new sense of readiness for the final battle against the Dark God. This food is absolutely delicious. It's divine. Quite literally, Sandstar. Quite literally. Let us eat what we need, and then ready for the final battles with the Dark God's minions. That fully heals us, it seems. Is that the equivalent of a feast spell, the Hero's Feast spell in particular? It may be, and I'm curious. Do we have an unlimited supply of full heal feasting here? I think we do. Wow. Do they want this level to be really easy to finish? Because if that's the case, you have succeeded in that endeavour. Let's go west, shall we, and see what is over here. The answer is a door full of the undead. And against the undead, the Dowzimmer deals a lot of damage. That was 34 points of damage. Now we have a key, and I'm going to presume that over here, yep, is another one of these rooms where we can use an Ember of Hope. The Beacon of Hope flares alive with holy light. I have to say that this floor so far hasn't been that difficult. That said, I probably haven't found the true threat that is to be encountered here. There's probably something really tricky to encounter later on. There is one of these altars, and there's nothing on it. I wish those things would stop. Why won't they stop? They are lamenting their passing. I know they are, but couldn't they do it more quietly? Our spells are beginning to expire. We do have more of those spells. Indeed we do. But we should start thinking about resting in the near future. Indeed. Well, keep that in mind. I don't think resting here is a good idea with all of that going on. There are probably a lot of undead over here if all of the wailing is to be believed. And there's one right there. And a different enemy. Easy enough to defeat, though. And then everything goes silent. Never mind. Everything is not silent anymore. Right, let's go and have a look around here and see if there's anything... No, nothing over here. What about over here? That's the aid spell gone. And over here is a grand total of nothing. The enemies really aren't that frequent here. I should really think about resting before I go in there, though. That says to me that there's some kind of trap. Nightmares filled with images of hate and evil beset the party, ruling out any possibility of healthful sleep. Ah, well, that's not going to happen. That's very much like how it was in the Temple Darkmoon. We're seeing a lot of similarities between here and the Temple of Darkmoon. The Temple of Darkmoon was full of evil. This place is also full of evil. It makes sense. We're going to have to find somewhere else to rest. Maybe on the previous floor. I don't think that we've been locked off from going back down to the previous level. And that is going to close. Which tells me that there's going to be something down there that I can throw things at that will allow me to go through. Worst case scenario, I'm going to be losing a +3 longsword. Oh, there was something there. And we are in. Not that it seems like there's anything really good here. There's something we can read. Faith must go before all good souls. Curious. I wonder where this leads. We're going to find out, aren't we? I'm afraid so. We have to find our way further up. In we go. Doesn't seem like it's brought us anywhere. Maybe we're missing something. Maybe we are, Tabitha. Let's keep this place in mind as we continue to explore. We can't do anything there, which tells me that we probably have to go there later once we've solved more puzzles. Those puzzles, I imagine, are going to be in the form of finding more copper keys, and that is the other aid spell gone. And here is, yes indeed, another locked door, and we can't do anything with our thieves' tools, so we're going to have to find more copper keys. And the spiritual hammer spell has expired. Fortunately, we have another one of them ready, and we haven't gone this way. Nothing here. Something here, though. Are we ready? We're ready, Rune. Let's go. Oh, I know what those are! Those are Death Knights, I believe. We encountered them way back in Waterdeep. Oh, that we did. Let us best them. Well, that was a little easier than I thought it would be. We are a lot stronger since our first adventure, Rune, after all. Indeed we are. There is a magic staff here that I don't know the identity of. Let's see just what it does. This is a magic staff +4. That's pretty impressive, and Mordenkainen's sword has expired. I'm curious. Does the game count us as being on a different floor right now? Yes, it does. Which means that we can rest here with no drawback, making the fact that you can't rest on the previous level pretty much a moot point. When you were in Eye of the Beholder 2, the fact that you couldn't rest was magnified by the fact that you couldn't escape without going all the way through the area. That's where the true threat was. The enemies weren't that difficult. It was the fact that you couldn't get out. Here, we can go up to this floor and rest as much as we like, and I imagine we can go back down to the previous floor, floor 2, because we're currently on floor 4, I'd imagine, and rest there, rendering the you can't sleep thing completely pointless. Ooh! A scroll of resurrection. Now, if we had an elf in our party, that would be very important, because elves cannot be brought back with raised dead. You have to use resurrection. And Lilanva cannot yet cast resurrection. She will be able to soon, I imagine, but just not right now. Another teleporter. Let's go. This place looks remarkably like where we just were, but it probably isn't. Let's be careful. I don't like that sound. I don't like it either. We have some more stairs that we can go down. And when we come back, folks, we'll do just that. Head down, see where we are, and try and find a use for the Ember of Hope that we have here. We also need to find another Ember of Hope and some more copper keys. And all that will come in time. For when we come back, more exploring the Temple of Lathander, and dealing with the definitely not a problem scenario of not being able to rest. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks, and I'll see you then. Later. Those enemies really aren't going to stop moving, are they? No, let's actually go to the other side, where they weren't. Much better. Later.